What's up, my couture crafters? Let's see how I set up my Go Wild planner slash memory keeping book. I almost didn't do one this year, but couldn't help it. So that's just a piece of chipboard that Staples gave me when they cut my paper down to size. I could have done it with my paper trimmer, but I didn't want to cut 35 pieces of paper. I wasn't in the mood for that. Staples, they can just do one cut, and I think they charge you about $2 per cut, and they can cut through all the sheets at one time. So this is a decorative sheet of paper that I printed out on my printer. I printed it out on 80-pound cardstock. And I'm just trimming it so that I have about a half an inch, no exact measurements or anything, but just about a half an inch around all the sides. I'm going to cover this the same way I do my albums that I make. This is my favorite part of making an album is covering the chipboard. I tried using my glue here, but I don't like it because it left imprints on the paper. It usually doesn't, but it did because I didn't spread it out. Whatever. Just use some tape. I was so over it. So from here on out, I don't use any more wet glue. I just use just the tape. I am using my little corner tool right there that I get off of Etsy. I think that's from colorways.com on Etsy. And I'm just taking off a little bit of that. It does not need to be exact. You can just try to leave about 1/8 of an inch from the chipboard. You do not need that tool. The tool does give you a perfect miter every time, but it's just not that serious. Just cut the paper about 1/8 away if you want to. This is easy peasy. This is my It's Almost Go Wild. I think I want something done. So I'm just doing something super quick. So I'm putting tape all around the edges. And I'm just folding the paper, getting it ready to fold. I'm kind of just giving it a little memory there so it knows where it's going. And I'm pulling the tape off with my pen blade X-Acto knife type tool there. And then I'm just going to roll it over and press it down. Roll it over, press it down. These corners, you kind of do them like presents, and you just kind of pop in that little side just a little bit. Just push it in. And because it's 80-pound cardstock, it's kind of hard, but it'll give you perfect corners every time. So here I'm using my bone folder to just push in those tabs just a little bit. And then I just fold it on itself with the tape. Perfect. Now all we have to do is cover up the rest of that chipboard. I'm going to measure it. I think I did 5 by 7 1/4 for the sheet that goes on the inside. Look at this paper. I love it. I got the paper from Kglamco. That's Keisha. I love this paper that she designed. It's so perfect for Go Wild. So girly. So now I'm just going to take some tape, put it all around the edges once again. I'm using a room key, probably from Vegas. I think that is a Vegas room key. And I am just tearing this tape. Nothing special. I'm trying to get as close to the edge as I can. And then I just use a tape runner and throw some adhesive down. And now I am going to take the tape off once again with my pen blade type tool. And then I'm going to stick it down on that chipboard, making sure that I have the right sides up because this paper is all directional. You guys, I am so excited about going wild. I wasn't initially, but I am now. I'm ready to go. I'm going to work probably 2 days this week and take off 2 days as opposed to working 3 days. At least that's the plan. We'll see. And there we go. Now I need to do the back cover. I bought the bundle, the die cut and paper bundle from Keisha. That's Kglamco. And it's got a bunch of different papers on there. And I chose 6 papers that I wanted to play with. 4 for the front and back. And then 2 random papers that I just put on the inside as like divide. They're not really dividers. They're just in there just to be in there because I liked some of the patterns and wanted to use them throughout my little book here. So I'm doing the exact same thing that I did on the front cover, on the back cover. I just placed the chipboard piece in the middle of that paper, drew some lines around it, and now I'm just cutting about a 1/2 inch around. You can see that it's not even, but I just even up the chipboard in the center. I'm using tape runner instead of wet glue, is which I should have done in the first place. You're just trying to tack it down because once you wrap it, it's not going anywhere. Now I'm taking the tape. This is how I know I'm warming up. This is how I should have done it before, but that's okay. It's been a while since I've been paper crafting. I have to warm up. If you don't use it, you will lose it. I'm telling you. So this is how I should have done it. Initially, putting the tape all the way to the edge and then using this tool to cut. So that way you know that the tape is all the way to the edge. No worries. The front will be fine. It's just, this is a better way to do it. And that's what we're doing. Mitering the corners. Again, if you don't have that tool, do not freak out. Just cut the paper about 1/8 an inch away from the chipboard. Chipboard, it could be the back of a notepad, cereal boxes, whatever. Just get your little piece of something sturdy to stick in there to make your covers. And here I am just pulling off the tape and rolling it over on itself. And then we're just going to tuck in those corners once again. Just push them down. And you'll be surprised. You'll have perfect corners every time. Excuse my nails. I'm going to get them done. They need to be done, but I've been extremely busy and I couldn't think of a design that I wanted. You know me and my designs. These are probably very plain to most people, although it's an ombre. I like it. But I've got to think of something else for my nails this week. I think I've got an idea, but I'm not sure if it's going to look right. So we'll see. So here I'm kind of quilt style fussy cutting. When I say quilt style, quilters will cut around something just the way that we do it here. Paper crafters literally would cut out the whole go wild when they say fussy cutting. So I'm doing quilter style fussy cutting and trying to make sure I get full go wild on the top and in the center. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to see the full emblem, the full image without it all being cut off. The bottom part is cut off fine, but I didn't want the top part cut off, and I wanted to make sure that I had some go wilds that were clear in the center, just so that it's aesthetically pleasing. So then we're just going around these sides again, nothing special here, and ripping that tape. I get my tape from Scrapbooking Made Simple. It is just like score tape, just as strong, just way cheaper, and it works just as well, and you get more on the roll. So yay for Stacy tape. I think they call it Stacy tape over there, but just score tape with her brand. Make sure that you're paying attention to your paper because this paper is directional, which means there's a right side up. And there we have the front and back cover. I printed out the schedule and I shrunk it down. In my printer settings, I just printed it at like 65%. And if you look at it really closely, it's a little off with the words, but like the bullet points, but that doesn't bother me not one bit. I can figure out what the schedule is going to be, and that's all that was important to me. So now I'm trimming it down, and there's a piece of paper that doesn't have anything on the back. And I thought, well, I want to be able to get to this schedule so I can reference it a whole bunch. So what I did was I put it on the very back. There's that piece of paper that doesn't have anything on the back. I figured the schedule could go there. I could find it very, very quickly, which is what I want to be able to do. And so I'm just going to tape it to the back of that sheet. The sheets that don't, when I was printing out Kglamco's decorative paper, I could have run it through both sides. It didn't occur to me to do it at that time, whatever. So I figure I'll just cover it with pictures. So the decorative sheets that you'll see inside the notebook, on the back, I'll just cover it with pictures, or I'll stamp on it, or maybe I'll doodle when I get bored, or who knows, maybe I'll paint it. Who knows what I'll do? Maybe I'll spray it with something. Nobody knows, but I'm not super duper concerned. But I did want to be able to get to this schedule so that I could refer to it quickly, easily. So it being the very back page makes me happy. So same thing. This is me about to glue that planner schedule right on the back of one of these sheets. Why am I using tape and a glue stick, you say? This is just a trick. When you are using the tape runner and it's super strong, you want to have some wiggle room when you place anything on top of it, just in case it's not all the way straight. If you don't do this, when you place that tape down, whatever touches it will be stuck. So once that school glue evaporates, it's still going to be the same tautness. It'll still be super strong, but it gives you just a touch of wiggle room so that you can readjust it. Here I have a little sliver that's bothering me, so I just cut it off with my good Tim Holtz ruler and my pen blades, X-Acto knives. They're retractable. So here I'm just giving you guys a flip through. These planner sheets are not the same as the other ones. These actual things to do the list and everything, those came from, I think it's HighlandBellPlans. Yes, it's HighlandBellPlans. So here I decide, you know what? I want to make things to do daily. So I grabbed my stamp set that's super inexpensive from Michael's. I want to say you could get it for just a few dollars, especially if you use a coupon. Probably the most inexpensive stamps you will ever see, at the least expensive stamps that you will ever see. And they have days on them. So I grabbed that, and then I grabbed my Catherine Pooler stamp pad. And because these stamps are so inexpensive, you know, they are what they are. They're not prepped. They don't give the best impression, so you need to use the very best stamp pad that you have. And Catherine Pooler is a good one, but for this one, I thought it was better to use the VersaFine Clair, which I talk about in my stamp pad videos because I'm a crazy stamper lady and I love all things rubber stamps and ink and paper crafting, yada yada yada. So anyway, I just switched over to using VersaFine Clair, which will usually adhere to just about any stamp there is. And so just to make sure that I get a super crisp image, I stamped these using my mini Misty. Actually, that's a regular size Misty. So that I could place the Thursday down twice in the same position without worrying about if it's going to move. So here's my little flip through. That's the only thing I stamped. I think I'm going to stamp little boxes like for check marks in the very front. Look at this. It's genius. My panel notes, autographs, that's my favorite part. I printed a gang of those. Karaoke, I'll take pictures there. Plan jam, planning party. Let's keep in touch. Let's take a selfie. Swag tracker. And then, guys, I went to Staples, and I had Staples bind it for me. I could have punched it with my tool and put some discs in, but this just would have been too cumbersome. So I just ran over to Staples and they charged me $5 and they bound it. Nice and easy peasy. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll show you guys what I'm going to put it in eventually when I make it and design it. And that's it. Let's go wild. See you there.